Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 413. I'm Phil Graham. I've got a great show for you guys today. I'm going to be sharing my 5-minute Facebook and Instagram ads audit with you guys. So you might be feeling stuck or frustrated or confused with your ads and your data. I want to walk you through a quick 5-minute audit that I do to try and help spot any issues and also potential opportunities pretty quickly. So the good news is, like, if you're overwhelmed or you're stuck or frustrated, there is hope because skill matters. Skill can make a huge difference. Now, a proper episode on this would literally be hours. When I go and do audits for ourselves or for clients, it's way more than 5 minutes, I tell you that. But there are things that you can do in short amounts of time, short windows of time with your own ads that can definitely help. So is this my full audit strategy? Of course not, because again, that would take hours or days to teach you in these episodes. But I can start by giving you chunks of it and things that you can do in a short amount of time that could help. And these are things that I would do if I were you in order to try and either improve things, figure things out, or get unstuck when it comes to your ads. And even though these are really focused and streamlined, I also think they're really powerful. So even though it's not everything I do, this stuff can be super powerful, just this stuff in short windows of time. So I'm really excited to share it with you guys today. Now, before we dive into that, I just want to briefly say that if you guys are looking for some help with your ads, I believe one-on-one coaching and consulting is the best way to go, the best way to learn. A lot of people love it. So whether you're looking for something like that, or you might want to just say, forget it, I don't want to really learn this stuff. I'm too busy. I'd rather have you do it for me. And you want somebody to run your ads for you. We do that as well. Obviously, we've done that for many years. So if you're looking for either one of those things, you can go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. One other option is that I do offer a service where I do a full ad campaign audit for clients. I do the audit and then share the findings with you on one call. So if that's something you're interested in, you could also let me know on that. And with that being said, let's jump right into the content. I want to keep this short, sweet, and full of value, and of course, very actionable for you guys. Let's talk about my 5-minute Facebook and Instagram ad audit. For you, this may take more than 5 minutes because you're not used to doing this. So, it could take you 15 or 20. It might take you 5, but don't focus on the time, just focus on the actions. Let's start with number 1. What I recommend you do is you go in and analyze your campaign for key metrics, and you want to compare them to your benchmarks. Do you have benchmarks? If you don't, what are you running ads for? You got to have benchmarks to run ads. So there's industry benchmarks. We have our own benchmarks that mirror, many industries as well. Just because I see so much data from client accounts, I have a good handle on that. In fact, if you're ever curious about your specific industry, you know what? Shoot me a message, philgrahamdigital.com, or DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. You could ask me about your specific industry, and I can give you some of those benchmarks. I may or may not get back to you quickly because I get lots of messages and super busy, but I will get back to you. In terms of analyzing key metrics, you go into your account, and what you want to look for is a few different things. Number 1, you want to check your cost per lead, cost per action, cost per conversion, cost to acquire a customer, whatever that may be. Or if you're not running something that's specific like that, then there's other things you'll check. But first and foremost, you're going to check the cost to acquire a lead or a customer, as well as your return on ad spend, obviously. Now, do realize that sometimes those numbers are not totally accurate because of many factors, technical factors, privacy issues, etc. So you do have to kind of look in multiple places to get a good idea for it. And even if it's not exact, it should give you like a rough idea of where you're at. So you want to see where you're at. You've got to analyze what your cost per lead is or cost to acquire a customer. You also should know things, and this is whether you're e-commerce or any other kind of business. What is your average order value and what's your conversion rate? Those things happen on your website. So you want to know what those are too, because those all play into this as well. You also want to look at your CPM because that's essentially the cost of running ads. So, for example, let's say you're comparing to last year and you go and you look at your CPMs, and let's say they're $20 per thousand right now. And let's say last year, let's say there were just random number, let's say there were $10 per CPM. And if you're not doing as good this year and you're thinking everything sucks and your ads are horrible, and you don't look at CPMs, you wouldn't realize that your costs went up. So you'd have to do twice as good just to do as well as you did last year. You might think it's a problem with the ads, but it might be the cost that is affecting that difference. And then in that scenario, there's things you can do. You can try and run some different things to lower the CPMs. You could try and create more effective ads that will overcome the CPM. Like there's a lot of stuff, but CPMs matter. You also want to look at what your cost per click is and what your link click-through rate is. So make sure when you're looking at click-through rates, you're not looking at click-through rate all or clicks all, because those include things like likes, comments, all that kind of stuff. You want to look at link click-through rate because that's the clicks, that's the percentage of clicks that actually clicked to go where you wanted them to go, to your website, whatever the call to action was. Same thing with link clicks. How many clicks did you get to your website? You don't want to look at clicks all because that's clicks on the ad too. So you want to look at link clicks. So those are some quick metrics you want to look at and identify and analyze and compare them to the benchmark. So hey, is this better than average? Is it worse than average? Because when you do that, you can get some clarity and some visibility on what's going on. Sometimes if ads are not performing or if you're struggling, how do you know if it's the ad or the offer or something on the website? Or it could be a combination of all those things. There's a lot of ways that you can find out. There's no way you'll know it all with a 5-minute audit, but you can still learn some valuable things. So you got to analyze these metrics and see if it's above or below the benchmarks. If it's below the benchmarks, you have to figure out why that is and do some testing to try and change that, obviously. So that's number one, is really starting with that data. Now, evaluating data is a skill. You need to get good at this. It's not good enough to just do it. You got to be good at it. It's like playing basketball or football. We all know how to play, but it doesn't mean we can all play professionally. That's a skill issue. So you want to not only do all this stuff, but you need to get highly skilled at it. Okay. So make sure you do that. Unlike sports, though, I believe most people can get highly skilled at this stuff. So that's the good news. Once you've analyzed your metrics and you have a good feel for that, number two, you want to evaluate your ad targeting to see what's going on. If I were helping you, what I would do after analyzing the metrics would depend on what I found in the data, in those metrics. Today, giving you our general recommendations, but if I were doing this for you, for example, it might be different based off of what I saw in the metrics. But I'm still going to kind of give you some general recommendations across the board that could be helpful. And one of them is evaluating your ad targeting. So what I would be looking at is, okay, are you only targeting broad audiences, for example? Maybe you're only using Advantage Plus and that's it. That could be a huge mistake potentially. So are you only targeting broad audiences? It doesn't mean that it is a mistake. I said it could be. It's something you want to look at. The next thing you want to do is look at, are you excluding potential valuable audiences? Whether that's like a lookalike or a segmented audience. And when I say excluding, I don't mean literally excluding them in your audience. I mean just not running to those audiences, not testing them. There's a lot of potential great audiences besides Advantage Plus. Segmented audiences, interests, behaviors, have they been tested? If not, what are you doing? Those are great opportunities for testing. Another thing you want to look for, obviously, in your targeting is retargeting. Are you consistently retargeting with those audiences? If not, I definitely recommend that you start some retargeting. If you are, how's it going? And if it's not going well, is it because the audience or the creative? You got to do some further testing. One other thing you guys can look at when it comes to your targeting is looking at the age and demographic and gender evaluation. So you can do a breakdown with your ads and you can look at performance by age and by gender or even by placement and by location and many other things. That is something that is like gold because you might see some ads that are doing well with one age or gender, but not with another. And maybe you need to put more budget into where it's doing well. Maybe you need to stop what's not, or maybe change the creative for that age or gender. But that's something that you can look at to then make smart tests with and changes with based off of this data. And that just makes you smarter and smarter about what's going on. So that's some ad targeting ideas in this audit. Number 3, you want to look at your creatives and your messaging. So there's a zillion things I could talk about here. I've got to kind of keep this short. So some of the important ones off the top of my head would definitely be your hook. Do you have a hook? Your hook should be in 3 places: in your headline, at the very beginning of your ad copy as well, and then either in your image or if it's in your video, if you're doing a video, it should be the first couple seconds of your video. It should be in all of those places. So number 1, do you even have a hook? I'll tell you what, if you're starting off with something about you or an introduction, you don't have a hook. You got to have a hook that matters to your ideal audience. And number 1, do you have one? But then second, if you have one, is it actually good enough and strong enough to capture their attention immediately? So look at all your stuff and see if everything has not only a hook, but does it have an amazing hook? And are you testing different hooks? So many advertisers and so many ads either don't have a hook or they have a hook that sucks and they think Facebook sucks. It's like, no, your hook sucks. That's why your ads aren't working. So test that. Try some different hooks. Another thing is with your creative, with your ad copy, does it match your pain points of your ideal audience or their aspirations and things that they really want? Does it really talk to those things? Or are you just talking about how great you are? Because that could be a big mistake if that's the case. You want it to match their pain points and aspirations. And then the other thing with your ads, does your ad clearly give value in some way? Whether that's teaching somebody something or giving somebody some hope or inspiring them, does it clearly give value? And also, does it clearly communicate your differentiation? What makes you or your brand different or your product or service and how that difference benefits your clients and customers? Because if it doesn't do that stuff, there might be a problem. These are things that you want to fix. And also, does it clearly give and show what the offer is, if there's an offer? So those are some things for your creatives and messaging. And then last but not least, let's talk about ad placements. You definitely want to review your ad placements. Again, you can do this via the breakdown in Ads Manager. And if you don't know how to do some of this stuff, then that's something that is prime for like a consulting call, because these are things that you absolutely need to know how to do and you need to be really good at them. So make sure that you're working on this. But what you want to do is use the breakdown to identify any placements that might be wasting your budget with bad performance. And then you got to figure out, well, is it because that placement just doesn't work for your offer? Or maybe whatever ad you had wasn't right for that placement and you need a different creative or something like that. But you want to identify, make sure you're not wasting money on bad placements. Another thing you can do is identify potential valuable placements that really haven't been given as much of a chance. So for example, let's say you're running ads and you're using Advantage Plus placements, so it's going everywhere. And let's say you look and you're like getting an amazing low cost per lead or cost per purchase on Instagram stories. But let's say it's only got like 1% of your budget spend and everything else is going to other placements. Well, that could be an opportunity. You don't know if it's going to do better once it gets more reach, but what if it does? So that would be an example of identifying a potential opportunity and then maybe running an ad that is only going to Instagram stories and reels and nowhere else, and then testing that out. So you also want to figure out which placements are delivering the best results consistently And you might want to mix it up and do automatic placements for some ads and then test some manual placements based off of what the data is showing you. So, my friends, this audit is something that you can and should be doing on a regular basis. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's not enough to just do it. You need to get skilled at it. You need to be really good at it. But the good news is, why not? There's nothing that's stopping you from getting really good at it. You literally could just be a few tweaks away from improving your ads. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you need help, if you want me to do an audit for you, I actually do audits for clients as a service. But regardless of all that, I recommend you guys do a mini audit on your ads and let me know what you find. My friends, episode 413 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here. We've got another great episode next week. If you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. I would love to connect with you, and I'll talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.